Welcome back, everyone. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make one of our appetizer favorites for entertaining over the holidays and for even some of those smaller holidays that are coming up that you might not think of. Um, it's a good recipe for Mother's Day brunch or Father's Day brunch. And speaking of Mother's Day, I just have a proud mom moment that I have to show you. There is a shelf behind the camera that you can't see, and adorning my kitchen is this cute little chickie, this little mama hen that my girls went to a ceramic store and ended up painting for me. And I just thought it was so clever. They couldn't wait to give it to me for Mother's Day. They had to give it to me right away. But you'll notice it's so cute. Each of these little speckles on this little mama hen is their fingerprints. And so in case you see me randomly smile, it's because I'm looking over at this mama hen who's now staring at me as I make recipes in the kitchen. So back to the recipe for today. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a quiche, and I'm going to show you how to do it two ways. One with an all butter crust and one without. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first version of these quiches that we're going to make will have a crust. And anytime I make a crust, I always do a double crust of whatever I'm making. And I like to do that because if I'm going to go to the work to make a homemade crust, I'm going to go ahead and do a double batch. And if I don't need both sides, I'm going to save the second side for something else. And so this is a leftover single crust from a recipe that I made earlier. If you don't want to hand make your crust, you can certainly go to the store and you can buy a pre-made crust. That would work just fine. You'll see here I'm just really working to be sure that my surface is well floured, both the dough as well as my rolling pin. And I'm just going to go ahead and start to roll out my dough. And we're going to roll it until it's about a 1/4 inch thick. Now, since I pre-made this dough, it was in the refrigerator, and I let it sit on the counter to come up to a warmer temperature so that the butter that's in it would be a little bit softer and easier to work with. Now, you'll notice I'm doing a different rolling technique. You don't have to do it this way. You can certainly go like this, or you can go on the sides like this. This recipe doesn't have to be perfect round, but I've just gotten in the habit of rolling it this way where I do a 1/4 turn with a roll. It helps to give you a rounder dough when you're making your recipe. And again, you want to keep it well floured. I'm going to flip it here. Keep going with my work. It doesn't have to be perfectly round because what we're going to do is once this is rolled out, we're going to go ahead and take about a 2.5 inch round measuring cup or cookie cutter or glass, whatever you have in your kitchen. We're going to go ahead and take that and we're going to use it to cut out round discs that will serve as the crust that's going to go into our mini muffin pan to go ahead and make the crust for these quiches. Okay, I think we're just about there. So now that I've got my dough rolled out, I'm going to prepare my mini muffin tin. I'm just going to use standard cooking spray to make sure it doesn't stick. One little spray in each of the muffin tin holes. And then I'm going to grab my cookie cutter for this recipe. My favorite is a cocktail glass. It has the perfect size, round opening, but as I said, if you don't have a cookie cutter that's this shape, use a glass, use a measuring cup, use something that you have. And all you're going to do is you're just basically going to go to the edge of the dough, find a good spot, make a dough disc, and then you're going to take that and you're going to pat it into, ever so gently, into these holes of your muffin tin. And you're going to repeat that process until you filled all of the holes of your mini muffin tin. You can work smarter. You can cut multiple discs at one time, stack them up, and then place them in all together. So you'll notice here, I have filled my muffin tin, but I still have some holes left and I still have some dough left. So I'm just going to take this dough that I cut all of the discs out of, and I'm going to bring it back together, reflour my surface just a little bit. And all I'm going to do is re-roll it and be able to make those last few discs. So once you've got your discs of dough all patted into your muffin tin, it'll look just about like this. And you're ready to go ahead and prepare your filling to put inside these discs. At this point, we're ready to prepare the filling. And for the main egg portion of the filling, we're going to use this same batch for both versions of the recipe. So if you're going to go ahead and proceed with a crustless option, you can go ahead and start at this point. If you've already made your crusts, this is also a good point to start. Also, if you haven't already, go ahead and take this time to preheat your oven to 375 degrees. So this is a good point to turn your oven on. Now to make the filling, I'm going to start with 4 eggs. Now we have farm fresh eggs and some are a little bigger, some are a little smaller. So I always like to keep an extra egg or 2 on hand. And I judge by the color of the filling how many eggs I need to put in. If you're using store-bought eggs, 4 will probably be sufficient for this batch. But if you, again, want a little bit more color to the quiche itself, a little bit more yellow, then I would suggest using more eggs as you prepare it based on your preference. We're going to add a 1/2 cup of whole milk. We're going to add a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Now, if you don't have whole milk and heavy cream, you can substitute with 1/2 and 1/2. That is okay, but whole milk and heavy cream are preferable. I'm going to take this opportunity to add a little bit of pepper. If you don't like pepper, you don't have to add it. I'm just adding a small little bit, maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon in there. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Again, if you don't like salt or don't want to add it, you don't have to add it. About a 1/2 teaspoon of salt here. And then we're just going to go ahead and whisk this together. If you don't have a whisk, you can use a hand mixer. You don't have a hand mixer, you can use a fork. But the nice thing is on this, you just want to mix it really well. Get it nice and fluffy and airy. You'll see here, I've got a pale yellow color. Again, I mentioned my eggs are all varying in sizes. So I am going to go ahead and crack another egg right into this. Give a little bit more of that yolk color to the egg, and you'll see that brightened it right up. Okay. Once that's all mixed up, you're going to take your prepared muffin tin, and you're going to go ahead and you can either pour directly into the prepared muffin tin, or you can use I'm using a little ladle. I find that scooping it in is a little bit easier for me. And you're going to fill about 3/4 full each of these little mini muffin compartments. And the reason why you're only filling it about 3/4 is because you need to leave space in here to add any ingredients that you want to add for the center of the quiches. You'll notice I have plenty of filling left over. I'm going to put this in the fridge, and then I'll show you a second way to make these quiches without a crust. So the last piece of preparation for these quiches, once you've got your egg filling into the crust, is to go ahead and put your center ingredients into each of the tins. Now, I took all of the ingredients that I want today and I mixed them all together in a bowl so that I can grab a little bit of each one as I go. So today I'm using ham, green onion, and PepperJack cheese for these. And if one of your quiches goes over a little bit, goes over the edge, that's okay. These are going to puff up as they cook, a lot like a souffle, and then they will sink back down in as they cool. Now that I've got all of these filled, I'm just going to go ahead and top them with a little bit of mixed cheese. You can use any variety you like. This is just a little shredded Jack and Cheddar cheese. Okay, now that these are topped with cheese, they're ready for the oven. They're going to go in at 375 degrees for approximately 15 to 20 minutes. My oven usually takes about 16 to 17 minutes. I'll set my timer for 15 minutes and then just peek in at them to see how they're doing. Once your mini quiches with crust are out of the oven, you're going to go ahead and let these rest until they're a little bit cooler to the touch so that you can actually take them out of the pan. Now the cooling process on these only takes a couple of minutes, and you can use, I'm just using a butter knife to help loosen them from the pan all the way around, and then just kind of scoop underneath and they come out really easily. And you can transfer them to whatever serving platter you're going to serve them on, or you can put them in a container to store in the refrigerator, and you can reheat them when you're ready to use them. And there you have it. You have mini quiche with crust for a crowd, and one for me. Mm. So yummy. Okay, so now that we've got our quiches with the crust out of the muffin tin, I've taken the same muffin tin, I've washed it, and I'm going to go ahead and spray it with some more cooking spray to get it ready to use to make ones without crust. I've pulled my remaining egg mixture from the refrigerator, and I'm ready to just go ahead and scoop this straight on in. We're going to fill each of these cubbies, again, about 3/4 full. This will take a lot more egg mixture because you don't have the crust in each of your holes taking up space. Once you have all of the mini muffins filled with your egg mixture, you can then go ahead and mix in your toppings. Today, I'm using the same as I did for the ones with the crust. I'm going to do ham with PepperJack cheese, some green onions, and then I'll finish the top with shredded Jack and cheddar cheese. Now on these ones, I like to add the green onions at the end. I just think that it makes a prettier topping on them. But you could mix all your toppings together and then add them all in at the same time. I just think because these ones don't really have a crust on the outside, it gives something pretty to finish the top. Now I'll top these with the shredded cheese. Okay, these are ready to go in the oven. They're going to go in for the same amount of time, 375 degrees, 15 to 20 minutes. These will cook a little bit quicker because they don't have a crust, so I'm again going to check them at 15 minutes, and they'll probably be pretty ready to come out right about then. Okay, so now that these have had a chance to cool, we're just going to go ahead and do the same thing with the butter knife. We'll loosen the edges, and then we'll pop them right out. Perfect. And the last one's for me. I wish you could taste these right now because they are absolutely delicious. And the thing that I really love about the mini quiches is the fact that there's not much room in the actual cubby for the ingredients. So whereas larger quiches, oftentimes the heavier ingredients sink to the bottom, every bite has some of the ingredients that you put in these. And that's it, you guys. We've got quiches 2 different ways to help feed a crowd. Use it for a brunch, use it for an appetizer, use it for Mother's Day. It's really, truly an easy recipe. There's a lot of substitutions that you can use. If you don't want to do ham and PepperJack cheese, there's other ingredients. Please read the description for variations of this recipe. If you don't have a mini muffin tin, there's also a variation in the description for how to use a regular sized muffin tin. I wish you could taste these. They're absolutely delicious. I hope that you make them. Subscribe to my channel. In the future, I hope to include a recipe on how to do the crust for these quiches with the crust. Like, share, and enjoy. Till next time.